All right, Lexi. So I've been thinking about this for a while, and I know that you've probably not spent a lot of time in the Bible or not read the Bible. So what I'm doing here is I am going to record myself reading it to you, so that if you ever feel like you want to do the Bible, but you're not either sure where to start, or like you want my voice for you with it, or you just want somebody to explain it or something like that, I'm gonna be here for you, and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna start reading from the very, very, very beginning of the Bible, the book of Genesis. It's on screen here. I'm recording these for you and hopefully uploading them somewhere so that it'll be easier for you to follow along with. And I'm just gonna read what's on the screen as I'm going through here. But without further ado, I'm gonna start with Genesis 1, story of creation. In the beginning, when God created the heavens and the earth was without form or shape, with darkness over the abyss, and a mighty wind sweeping over the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. God saw that the light was good. God then separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. Evening came, and morning followed, the first day. Then God said, "Let there be a dome in the middle of the waters, to separate one body of water from the other." God made the dome, and it separated the water below the dome from the water above the dome. And so it happened. God called the dome sky. Evening came, and morning followed, the second day. Then God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered into a single basin, so that the dry land may appear." And so it happened. The water under the sky was gathered into its basin, and the dry land appeared. God called the dry land earth, and the basin of water he called sea. God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth vegetation, every kind of plant that bears seed, and every kind of fruit tree on earth that bears fruit with its seed in it." And so it happened. The earth brought forth vegetation, every kind of plant that bears seed, and every kind of fruit tree that bears fruit with its seed in it. God saw that it was good. Evening came, and morning followed, the third day. Then God said, "Let there be lights on the dome of the sky, to separate day from night. Let them mark the seasons, the days, and the years, and serve as lights in the dome of the sky, to illuminate the earth." And so it happened. God made two great lights, the greater one to govern the day, and the lesser one to govern the night, and the stars. God set them in the dome of the sky to illuminate the earth, to govern the day and the night, and to separate the light from the darkness. God saw that it was good. Evening came, and morning followed, the fourth day. Then God said, "Let the water teem with an abundance of living creatures, and on the earth let birds fly beneath the dome of the sky." God created the great sea monsters and all kinds of crawling living creatures with which the water teems, and all kinds of winged birds. God saw that it was good, and God blessed them, saying, "Be fertile, multiply, and fill the water of the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth." Evening came, and morning followed, the fifth day. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth every kind of living creature, tame animals, crawling things, and every kind of wild animal." And so it happened. God made every kind of wild animal, every kind of tame animal, and every kind of thing that crawls on the ground. God saw that it was good. Then God said, "Let us make human beings in our image, after our likeness. Let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, tame animals, all the wild animals, and all the creatures that crawl on the earth." God created mankind in his image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fertile and multiply. Fill the earth and subdue it. Have dominion over the fish of the sea, the birds of the air, and all the living things that crawl on the earth." God also said, "See, I give you every seed-bearing plant on all the earth, and every tree that has seed-bearing fruit on it, to be your food. And to all the wild animals, all the birds of the air, and all the living creatures that crawl on the earth, I give all the green plants for food. And so it happened. God looked at everything he had made, and found it very good. Evening came, and morning followed. The sixth day. All right. Looks like that's the end of the first chapter here. So let's see if I can get to the next one here. Genesis 2. Take a quick swig of water. Chapter 2. Thus the heavens and the earth and all their array were completed. On the seventh day, God completed the work he had been doing. He rested on the seventh day from all the work he had undertaken. God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work he had done in creation. And here starts the story of the nations. We start in the Garden of Eden. This is the story of the heavens and the earth at their creation. When the Lord God made the earth and the heavens, there was no field shrub on earth, and no grass of the field that sprouted. For the Lord God had sent no rain upon the earth, and there was no man to till the ground. But a stream was welling up out of the earth, and watering all the surface of the ground. Then the Lord God formed the man out of the dust of the ground, and blew into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. The Lord God planted a garden in Eden, in the east, and placed there the man whom he had formed. Out of the ground, the Lord God made grow every tree that was delightful to look at and good for food, with the tree of life in the middle of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. A river rises in Eden to water the garden. Beyond there, it divides and becomes 4 branches. The name of the first is the Pishon. It is the one that winds through the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. The gold of that land is good. Bdellium and lapis lazuli are also there. The name of the second river is the Gihon. It is the one that winds through all the land of Cush. The name of the third river is the Tigris. It is the one that flows east of Ashur. The fourth river is the Euphrates. The Lord God then took the man and settled him in the Garden of Eden to cultivate and care for it. The Lord God gave the man this order: You are free to eat from any of the trees of the garden, except the tree of knowledge of good and evil. From that tree you shall not eat. When you eat from it, you shall die. The Lord God said, It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suited to him. So the Lord God formed out of the ground all the wild animals and all the birds of the air, and he brought them to the man to see what he would call them. Whatever the man called each living creature was then its name. The man gave names to all the tame animals, all the birds of the air, and all the wild animals, but none proved to be a helper suited to the man. So the Lord God cast a deep sleep on the man, and while he was asleep, he took out one of his ribs and closed up its place with flesh. The Lord God then built the rib that he had taken from the man into a woman. When he brought her to the man said, This one, at last, is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This one should be called woman. For out of man, this one has been taken. That is why a man leaves his father and mother and clings to his wife, and the two of them become one body. The man and his wife were both naked, yet they felt no shame. It's the end of the second chapter. So let's go to chapter 3. This is the story of how the man and the woman were released from Eden, or expelled from Eden. Now the snake was the most cunning of all the wild animals that the Lord God had made. He asked the woman, Did God really say, You shall not eat from any of the trees in the garden? The woman answered the snake, We may eat of the fruit of the trees in the garden. It is only about the fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden that God said, You shall not eat it or even touch it, or else you will die. But the snake said to the woman, You certainly will not die. God knows well that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like gods, who know good and evil. The woman saw that the tree was good for food, and pleasing to the eyes, and the tree was desirable for gaining wisdom. So she took some of its fruit, and ate it. and she also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together and made loincloths for themselves. When they heard the sound of the Lord God walking about in the garden at the breezy time of the day, the man and his wife hid themselves from the Lord God among the trees of the garden. The Lord God then called to the man and asked him, "Where are you?" He answered, "I heard you in the garden, but I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." Then God asked, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree of which I had forbidden you to eat?" The man replied, "The woman whom you put here with me, she gave me fruit from the tree, so I ate it." The Lord God then asked the woman, "What is this you have done?" The woman answered, "The snake tricked me, so I ate it." Then the Lord God said to the snake, "Because you have done this, cursed are you among all the animals, tame or wild. On your belly you shall crawl, and dust you shall eat all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. They will strike at your head when you strike at their heel, or while you strike at their heel. Sorry. To the woman he said, I will intensify your toil in childbearing. In pain you shall bring forth children. Yet your urge shall be for your husband, and he shall rule over you. To the man he said, because you listened to your wife and ate from the tree about which I commanded you, you shall not eat from it. Cursed is the ground because of you. In toil you shall eat its yield all the days of your life. Thorns and thistles it shall bear for you, and you shall eat the grass of the field. By the sweat of your brow you shall eat bread, till you return to the ground from which you were taken. For you are dust, and to dust you shall return. The man gave his wife the name Eve, because she was the mother of all of the living. The Lord God made for the man and his wife garments of skin with which he clothed them. Then the Lord God said, see, the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. Now, what if he also reaches out his hand to take fruit from the tree of life and eats of it and lives forever? The Lord God therefore banished him from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from which he had been taken. He expelled the man, stationing the cherubim and the fiery revolving sword east of the Garden of Eden to guard the way to the tree of life. It's the end of chapter 3. A quick sip of water. This is the story of Cain and Abel. The man had intercourse with his wife Eve, and she conceived and gave birth to Cain, saying, I have produced a male child with the help of the Lord. Next, she gave birth to his brother Abel. Abel became a herder of flocks, and Cain a tiller of the ground. In the course of time, Cain brought an offering to the Lord from the fruit of the ground, while Abel, for his part, brought the fatty portion of the firstlings of his flock. The Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. So Cain was very angry and dejected. Then the Lord said to Cain, why are you angry? Why are you dejected? If you act rightly, you will be accepted. But if not, sin lies in wait at the door. Its urge is for you, yet you can rule over it. Cain said to his brother Abel, let us go out in the field. When they were in the field, Cain attacked his brother Abel and killed him. Then the Lord asked Cain, where is your brother Abel? He answered, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? God then said, what have you done? Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Now you are banned from the ground that opens its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. If you till the ground, it shall no longer give you its produce. You shall become a constant wanderer on the earth. Cain said to the Lord, my punishment is too great to bear. Look, you have now banished me from the ground. I must avoid you and be a constant wanderer on the earth. Anyone may kill me at sight. Not so, the Lord said to him. If anyone kills Cain, Cain shall be avenged 7 times. So the Lord put a mark on Cain, so that no one would kill him at sight. Cain then left the Lord's presence and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. These are the descendants of Cain and Seth. Excuse me, burping real quick. Cain had intercourse with his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. Cain also became the founder of a city, which he named after his son Enoch. To Enoch was born Irad, and Irad became the father of Mehujael. Mehujael became the father of Methuselah, and Methuselah became the father of Lamech. Lamech took two wives. The name of the first was Ada, and the name of the second was Zillah. Ada gave birth to Jabal, who became the ancestor of those who dwell in tents and keep livestock. His brother's name was Jubal, who became the ancestor of all who play the lyre and the reed pipe. Zillah, on her part, gave birth to Tubal-Cain, the ancestor of all who forge instruments of bronze and iron. The sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah. Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice. Wives of Lamech, listen to my utterance. I have killed a man for wounding me, a young man for bruising me. If Cain is avenged seven times, then Lamech 77 times. Adam again had intercourse with his wife, and she gave birth to a son whom she called Seth. God has granted me another offspring in place of Abel, she said, because Cain killed him. To Seth, in turn, a son was born, and he named him Enosh. At that time, people began to invoke the Lord by name. It's the end of chapter 4. And now we're starting the generations from Adam all the way up to Noah. This is the record of the descendants of Adam. When God created human beings, he made them in the likeness of God. He created them male and female. When they were created, he blessed them and named them humankind. Adam was 130 years old when he begot a son in his likeness, after his image, and he named him Seth. Adam lived 800 years after he begot Seth, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Adam was 930 years, and then he died. When Seth was 105 years old, he begot Enosh. Seth lived 807 years after he begot Enosh, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Seth was 912 years. Then he died. When Enosh was 90 years old, he begot Kenan. Enosh lived 815 years after he begot Kenan, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Enosh was 905 years. Then he died. When Kenan was 70 years old, he begot Mahalalel. Kenan lived 840 years after he begot Mahalalel, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Kenan was 910 years. Then he died. When Mahalalel was 65 years old, he begot Jared. Mahalalel lived 830 years after he begot Jared. He had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Mahalalel was 895 years. Then he died. When Jared was 162 years old, he begot Enoch. Jared lived 800 years after he begot Enoch, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Jared was 962 years. Then he died. When Enoch was 65 years old, he begot Methuselah. Enoch walked with God after he begot Methuselah for 300 years, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Enoch was 365 years. Enoch walked with God, and he was no longer here, for God took him. When Methuselah was 187 years old, he begot Lamech. Methuselah lived 782 years after he begot Lamech, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Methuselah was 969 years. Then he died. When Lamech was 182 years old, he begot a son, and named him Noah, saying, This one shall bring us relief from our work and the toil of our hands, out of the very ground that the Lord has put under a curse. Lamech lived 595 years after he begot Noah, and he had other sons and daughters. The whole lifetime of Lamech was 777 years. Then he died. When Noah was 500 years old, he begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Perfect. Let's go to chapter 6. Now, this is something interesting. The origin of the Nephilim. When human beings began to grow numerous on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God, being angels, saw how beautiful the daughters of human beings were, and so they took for their wives whomever they pleased. Then the Lord said, My spirit shall not remain in human beings forever, because they are only flesh. Their days shall comprise 120 years. The Nephilim appeared on earth in those days, as well as later, after the sons of God had intercourse with the daughters of human beings, who bore them sons. They were the heroes of old, the men of renown. And now we're going to continue the story of Noah, flood, all that kinds of stuff. When the Lord saw how great the wickedness of human beings was on earth, and how every desire that their heart conceived was always nothing but evil, the Lord regretted making human beings on the earth, and his heart was grieved. So the Lord said, I will wipe out from the earth the human beings I have created, and not only the human beings, but also the animals and the crawling things and the birds of the air, for I regret that I made them. But Noah found favor with the Lord. These are the descendants of Noah. Noah was a righteous man and blameless in his generation. Noah walked with God. Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth was corrupt in the view of God and full of lawlessness. When God saw how corrupt the earth had become, since all mortals had corrupted their ways on earth, God said to Noah, I see that the end of all mortals has come, for the earth is full of lawlessness because of them. So I'm going to destroy them with the earth. And now Noah's going to start preparing for the flood. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Equip the ark with various compartments and cover it inside and out with pitch. This is how you shall build it. The length of the ark will be 300 cubits, its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. Make an opening for daylight, and finish the ark a cubit above it. Put the ark's entrance on its side. You will make it with bottom, second, and third decks. I, on my part, am about to bring the flood waters on the earth, to destroy all creatures under the sky, in which there is the breath of life. Everything on earth shall perish. I will establish my covenant with you. You shall go into the ark, you and your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. Of all living creatures, you shall bring 2 of every kind into the ark, 1 male and 1 female, to keep them alive along with you. 1 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of thing that crawls on the ground. 2 of each will come to you, that you may keep them alive. Moreover, you are to provide yourself with all the food that is to be eaten, and store it away, that it may serve as provisions for you and for them. Noah complied. He did just as God commanded him. Go on to chapter 7. Then the Lord said to Noah, Go into the ark, you and all your household, for you alone in this generation have I found to be righteous before me. Of every clean animal, take with you 7 pairs, a male and its mate, and of the unclean animals 1 pair, a male and its mate. Likewise, of every bird of the air 7 pairs, a male and a female, to keep their progeny alive over all the earth. For 7 days from now, I will bring rain down on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and so I will wipe out from the face of the earth every being that I have made. Noah complied, just as the Lord had commanded. Now the flood starts. Noah was 600 years old when the flood came upon the earth. Together with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives, Noah went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of the clean animals and the unclean, of the birds, and of everything that crawls on the ground, 2 by 2, male and female, came to Noah into the ark, just as God had commanded him. When the 7 days were over, the waters of the flood came upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, on that day, all the fountains of the great abyss burst forth, and the floodgates of the sky were opened. For 40 days and 40 nights, heavy rain poured down on the earth. On the very same day, Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of Noah's sons, had entered the ark, together with every kind of wild animal, and every kind of tame animal, every kind of crawling thing that crawls on the earth, and every kind of bird. Pairs of all creatures in which there was the breath of life came to Noah into the ark. Those that entered were male and female. Of all creatures they came, as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord shut him in. The flood continued upon the earth for 40 days. As the waters increased, they lifted the ark so that it rose above the earth. The waters swelled and increased greatly on the earth, but the ark floated on the surface of the waters. Higher and higher on the earth the waters swelled, until all the highest mountains under the heavens were submerged. The waters swelled 15 cubits higher than the submerged mountains. All creatures that moved on earth perished, birds, tame animals, wild animals, and all that teemed on the earth, as well as humankind. Everything on dry land with the breath of life in its nostrils died. The Lord wiped out every being on earth, human beings and animals, crawling things and the birds of the air, all were wiped out from the earth. Only Noah and those with him in the ark were left. And when the waters of the flood had swelled on the earth for 150 days, God remembered Noah and all the animals, wild and tame, that were with him in the ark. So God made a wind sweep over the earth, and the waters began to subside. We're in chapter 8 now, by the way. The fountains of the abyss and the floodgates of the sky were closed, and the downpour from the sky was held back. Gradually the waters receded from the earth. At the end of 150 days, the waters had so diminished that in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The waters continued to diminish until the 10th month. On the 1st day of the 10th month, the top of the mountains appeared. At the end of 40 days, Noah opened the hatch of the ark that he had made and released a raven. It flew back and forth until the waters dried off from the earth. Then he released a dove to see if the waters had lessened on the earth. But the dove could find no place to perch, and it returned to him in the ark, for there was water over all the earth. Putting out his hand, he caught the dove and drew it back to him inside the ark. He waited yet 7 days more, and again released the dove from the ark. In the evening, the dove came back to him, and there in its bill was a plucked off olive leaf. So Noah knew that the waters had diminished on the earth. He waited yet another 7 days and released the dove, but this time it did not come back. In the 601st year, in the 1st month, on the 1st day of the month, the water began to dry up on the earth. Noah then removed the covering of the ark and saw that the surface of the ground had dried. In the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry. Then God said to Noah, "Go out of the ark, together with your wife and your sons wives. Bring out with you every living thing that is with you, all creatures, be they birds or animals or crawling things that crawl on the earth, and let them abound on the earth, and be fertile and multiply on it." So Noah came out, together with his sons and his wife and his sons' wives, and all the animals, all the birds, and all the crawling creatures that crawl on the earth went out of the ark by families. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and choosing from every clean animal and every clean bird, he offered burnt offerings on the altar. When the Lord smelled the sweet odor, the Lord said to himself, "Never again will I curse the ground because of human beings, since the desires of the human heart are evil from youth, nor will I ever again strike down every living being as I have done. All the days of the earth, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease." Chapter 9. God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, "Be fertile and multiply and fill the earth. Fear and dread of you shall come upon all the animals of the earth, and all the birds of the air, upon all the creatures that move about on the ground, and all the fishes of the sea. Into your power they are delivered. Any living creature that moves about shall be yours to eat. I shall give them all to you as I did the green plants. Only meat with its lifeblood in it you shall not eat. Indeed, for your own lifeblood I will demand an accounting. From every animal I will demand it, and from a human being, each one for the blood of another. I will demand an accounting for human life. Anyone who sheds the blood of a human being, by a human being shall that one's blood be shed. For in the image of God have human beings been made. Be fertile then, and multiply. Abound on earth and subdue it. God said to Noah and to his sons with him, See, I am now establishing my covenant with you and your descendants after you, and with every living creature that was with you, the birds, tame animals, and all the wild animals that were with you, all that came out of the ark. I will establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all creatures be destroyed by the waters of a flood. There shall not be another flood to devastate the earth. God said, This is the sign of the covenant that I am making between me and you, and every living creature with you for all ages to come. I set my bow in the clouds to serve as a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth, and the bow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and every living creature, every mortal being, so that the waters will never again become a flood to destroy every mortal being. When the bow appears in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature, every mortal being that is on earth. God told Noah, This is the sign of the covenant I have established between me and every mortal being that is on earth. This is a continuing story of Noah and his sons. The sons of Noah who came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These were the sons of Noah, for these three were the sons of Noah, and from them the whole earth was populated. Noah, a man of the soil, was the first to plant a vineyard. He drank some of the wine, became drunk, and lay naked inside his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father's nakedness, and he told his two brothers outside. Shem and Japheth, however, took a robe, and holding it on their shoulders, they walked backward and covered their father's nakedness, since their faces were turned the other way. They did not see their father's nakedness. When Noah woke up from his wine and learned what his youngest son had done to him, he said, Cursed be Canaan! The lowest of slaves shall he be to his brothers. He also said, Blessed be the Lord, the God of Shem. Let Canaan be his slave. May God expand Japheth, and may he dwell among the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his slave. Noah lived 350 years after the flood. The whole lifetime of Noah was 950 years, and then he died. Chapter 10. The Table of the Nations. These are the descendants of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, to whom children were born after the flood. The descendants of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. The descendants of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Ziphath, Togarma. The descendants of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, the Kittim, and the Rodanim. From these branched out the maritime nations. These are the descendants of Japheth by their lands, each with its own language, according to their clans by their nations. The descendants of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Put, Canaan. The descendants of Cush, Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, and Septeka. The descendants of Rama, Sheba, and Dedan. Cush became the father of Nimrod, who was the first to become a mighty warrior on earth. He was a mighty hunter in the eyes of the Lord. Hence the saying, like Nimrod, mighty hunter in the eyes of the Lord. His kingdom originated in Babylon, Erech and Akkad, all of them in the land of Shinar. From that land he went forth to Assyria, where he built Nineveh, Rehoboth-ir, and Calah, as well as Resen between Nineveh and Calah, the latter being the principal city. Mizraim became the father of Ludim, the Anamim, the Lehebim, the Naphtuhim, the Pathrusim, the Casluhim, and the Caphtorim, from whom the Philistines came. Canaan became the father of Sidon, his firstborn, and of Heth, also of the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, the Archites, the Sinites, the Arvadites, the Zemarites, and the Harmathites. Afterward, clans of Canaan spread out, so that the Canaanite borders extended from Sidon all the way to Gerar, near Gaza, all the way to Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim, near Lasha. These are the descendants of Ham, according to their clans, according to their languages, by their lands, by their nations. To Shem also, Japheth's oldest brother, and the ancestor of all the children of Eber, children were born. The descendants of Shem: Elam, Asher, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The descendants of Aram: Uz, Hol, Gether, and Mash. It's Aram. Anyway, Arpachshad became the father of Shelah, and Shelah became the father of Eber. To Eber, 2 sons were born. The name of the first was Peleg, for in his time the world was divided, and the name of his brother was Joktan. Joktan became the father of Almodan, Shalef, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were descendants of Joktan. Their settlements extended all the way from Misha to Sephar, the eastern hill country. These are the descendants of Shem, according to their clans, according to their languages, by their lands, by their nations. These are the clans of Noah's sons, according to their origins and by their nations. From these, the nations of the earth branched out after the flood. That was 10 chapters. I think I'm going to stop the first video there. Hopefully you liked it. I'll keep doing some more after this.